Hello, everybody. We are here with the Posh Kings royalty. I'm so excited. We have Literwell, Rochelle, and Tab, and Tiffany and Hugo from SQSQ. Right?
Yeah, I made it short. We're not going to fit in there.
Thank you for that. But it's sell quick, ship quick. I got it. And, as you know, Michael and I have started to work together, and we wanted to get our friends' input in how do they do things, and everybody else that wanted to work with their husbands or convince their wives or husbands to join, as I did mine, can get advice from the best.
Yes.
So now I did tell you guys that I'm going to dip a bit onto the personal side too. So let's make this fun. I'm not going to dip so because that's going to be another show.
That's part two.
That's part two.
Confessions.
Yeah.
Party of two. I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome, right?
Yeah. In English, we call it confessions, and in Spanish, confesiones. So,
Yeah.
Yes. And as you know, I'm not only doing reselling. I want to use this as an outlet to talk about mental health, civil rights, racism, tourism, the pandemic, and everything in between. Health,
That's smart.
art,
Yep.
and everything that we can, that we could talk and add. And I'm doing a lot with my hands, so I'm just gonna hide them here. Okay, so let's start.
No.
We're gonna start with Rochelle and Tab. How did you guys meet?
She picked me up at a bar.
Ooh.
We met. You picked me up in a bar about, I don't know, 14 years ago.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
So how?
actually,
Did you see her? How did you see? We need to know more details.
so back in the day, so I was in the Marines when this happened, and I was at the bar with some friends of mine, and she was at the bar with some friends of hers. And my friends actually, I was the only single friend in my group, and they saw her and they just grabbed her and said, "We got somebody we want you to meet." So it was actually my friends that picked her up for me. So
What did you think, Rochelle?
What's that?
What did you think, Rochelle? Like, they are crazy, or?
Oh, I didn't want to date a Marine.
Mm-hmm.
No. And he was in his 20s. I was not in my 20s. I was in my 30s. And he was in his 20s. So,
yeah,
I gave in.
She wanted no part, but I was consistent. So
Now we've been married for 12 years almost, and
that is so cool. Michael and I met through Yahoo Personals.
Okay.
And listen to this. We lived in the same complex, like 2 blocks away.
We're actually neighbors.
We were neighbors.
That's funny.
Yeah, we met at Bahama Breeze, and that was
The rest is history.
5 months later, we got married. Everybody thought I was getting married because I was pregnant. I wasn't. And that's 18 years later.
18 years.
That's
Nice.
that is great.
That's great.
That's our story.
You guys probably passed each other going to the mailbox like so many times and just didn't even know it.
Yes, that's what we
Yeah.
talked about later.
Yeah, I'm sure we've seen each other before. We actually met, but it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I could see that happening nowadays because everyone's looking at their phone. But 18 years ago, we weren't staring at our phones the whole time.
I
so
know.
we really just missed each other.
But also, he's older. And I was in my early 20s, so I wasn't looking. I wasn't even going to the mailbox. So
No mailbox, no garbage, so maybe we didn't see each other.
So Brad and John, how did you guys meet?
Okay, I'll tell the story because he never tells it.
Please do.
You need a drink.
And I'll make it fast. Because a lot of information.
Give me your drink, please.
I'll do it really fast.
Go ahead.
So we've been together for 14 years. And we met on a dating website when they were dating websites. Before,
swipe left, swipe right.
The other end of the deal that has come.
Yeah.
So, I would go on in the morning. I lived in a big high-rise building at the time. And I would go on in the morning and I would, check messages or whatever. And obviously, look, we all know if any of us have been on those websites, you kind of surpass most of it because most of it's nonsense and you keep moving on. However, I got a message from my downstairs neighbor who believed that we were friends, but we were just kind of acquaintances because I saw them on the elevator once in a while. It was also on the website. And like, how you doing, girl? And I'm like, girl, guy, you know what I'm saying, the interchangeable fun thing.
Yeah.
I'm fine. How are you? And he said, I'm fine. He said, do you have a minute? He said, I'm distraught. And I said, no, I won't tell that part.
Okay.
And I
That's for another show.
and I said,
Part two.
PG.
and he said, oh my God, I was dating the most amazing guy. It was everything I ever wanted. So handsome, so perfect in every way. And all of these great things. I said, oh my God. I said, oh girl, you're better than that. You're gonna find a good man. All those things that you tell somebody to like make them feel, better about themselves.
I got a DM the next day from this one.
No, you didn't. I'm gonna tell you how it was.
Wait, were you the boyfriend?
So this is how it went down.
Were you the neighbor boyfriend?
I'm sorry?
Was Brad the neighbor's boyfriend?
Yes.
The ex.
Oh.
I was out the ex.
They had just broken up that morning. And so I said, oh,
You snatched that one like this.
you're going to find bigger and better, no pun intended. and so I said, but but do me a favor, what's his screen name so I can keep an eye out for myself? So I was curious because it's, the neighbor had talked him up so much. Where am I in the camera? There I am.
There.
So they talked him up so much. And I said, well, let me just go look. So I looked and it was good. Mind you, it's a lot of years back and he's 10 years younger than me, period, anyway. So I was like, oh, okay. It's good. So I didn't say anything because you got to follow girl code, right?
Yeah.
So the next day, he wrote me and said,
It's like looking into the ocean when I look at your eyes.
Oh.
Womp womp.
and I wrote back, I said, that's nice. And I didn't say anything.
Oh my God.
So you were playing hard to get after you were the one trying to get?
Yeah, so that's the game. Hello.
So,
Wow.
Yeah.
in the short end to the end of the story is this. At the time I was taking care of my mother who had terminal cancer. So I was busy with that, and we had 9 clothing stores that I had owned. Life was crazy. So we literally texted each other for 2 straight months for 12 to 14 hours a day.
Oh, that's so
Wow.
bad.
Didn't have time to meet him even, really. So finally we met at this kind of like dive sports bar because it was, somewhere easy because I didn't have time to get all dressed up, and he walked in and that was it. We've not spent a night apart since then. And sometimes words are the most important thing. And we fell in love before we ever met.
Yeah.
So
Oh, heart.
That was a very long intro.
I know. I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's a really cool story.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have any game from the beginning. It was just, I mean, I had game, but I just didn't play it with them. And he had game, but he just didn't play it with me, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hugo and Tiffany, your turn.
We met in the 6th grade.
Oh.
Wow.
Are you serious?
Great.
Were you dating on the 6th grade, or you were just friends?
We were just friends.
Yeah.
We were best friends throughout junior high and high school.
And after high school.
Yeah. And then we started, he had a 12-year plan.
That's what I said. I had a 12-year plan. I just had to be that friend zone for a little bit longer.
So you knew each other when you were going through girlfriends and boyfriends.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was my best friend. And so we talked to each other about everything.
Yeah. So the relationship.
But you knew though, Hugo.
Well, I mean, I knew, yeah. But my thing was, she had a boyfriend, so I was like, all right. Well, I mean, I had a girlfriend.
You planned the 12 years.
It was a 12-year plan. Yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
No.
So he finally asked me out when I was like 20, 21.
Yeah. Oh, 09, whatever that is. Yeah, 10 years. Yeah.
And we've been together ever since. So
Yeah.
we've been married for 5
years.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Many, many.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
It's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Beautiful stories. So here's the question: how did you guys start with the reselling business? Who started first? Let's go with Hugh and Tiffany. Because their story was the shortest. So we're gonna
Well, I started reselling first. I think it was, like a lot of people have talked about storage wars and stuff like that. I've always watched those random shows, but I've always found interest in old things, and I started doing the garage sales, and I really just focused on small random things. And I picked up a couple random like vintage blow torches and Japanese card games that we sold. And I sold those by myself, and I was like, I sold like 3 things.
Yeah, he sold 3 things and then proclaimed himself not even a reseller. I don't think we
I
knew
didn't know that
term.
was a word. Yeah.
He just said, I'm going to sell things from garage sales.
Yeah.
And he went out and bought all the padded envelopes and filled up our garage and then never sold a single thing again.
I just filled up the garage with shipping supplies, so I didn't do anything else again. Yeah.
And then it was what, like 3-4 years later?
Almost 5 years. Because then at the same time, her family restaurant took off here in LA, and we started working with them. So because that restaurant was so intense, it was doing great. I had not interest in selling. I just didn't have time to sell.
And we were taking care of my siblings, and there was like 6 of them. So it was restaurant during the day, school, and then we took care of the kids until my family got home. So there was no time really. And then I think it was you found YouTube.
Then I just came across it again, and I didn't know I was doing retail arbitrage, but my thing was like, oh, I'll try it again, but I'm only going to sell new things I find at TJ Maxx, which is retail arbitrage. I didn't know that's what I was doing.
I just learned that too, like a couple of months ago.
Yeah, but I started with random things, and I started selling some makeup, and it started selling, and Tiff started helping me just scanning things because she didn't completely understand it or completely like see it as a business. So she was like, oh, I'll scan with you. And then slowly more and more things sold until the point where it was like, I think she started seeing they weren't death piles because it was listed, but my inventory system was just piles of stuff in a corner. And then she'd ask me, so where's this? It's either in pile A or pile B. And she's like, okay, well, how much did you pay for it? I paid either $5 or $10 for it. Okay, so how much did you make? I either made $5 or $10. And she's like, okay, no. She's very organized. So she jumped on board and.
Well, I think it was like we sold for a few months, and then we went to do our taxes and we realized how much was actually coming in. And then he was like, okay, well, maybe we should turn this into a business. And then once he actually put it on paper that it was a business, then I went through and reorganized everything.
Yeah, no, thank goodness, because it's an amazing system she has for us. Because I would have just had pile A through Z, and that would have been terrible.
Yeah.
Tiffany, when this pandemic is over, you're more than welcome to come. We'll even pay for your ticket. Christine says sometimes when you're in the friend zone, you get in the zone.
Yeah, I mean, we joke around, but I'd send her Valentine's grams since we were in 6th grade.
Yeah, which I still have.
Aww.
But sometimes I'd send them and the boyfriends wouldn't give her one. So then I'd be the only one that gave her one.
Oh, you knew.
Level up.
Yeah, single people.
But also, even though I had a girlfriend during some of those, I gave her a gram too.
And I just thought he was a really nice guy.
You're just like in the groundwork. That's all. You know that.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Brad and John, I know you guys had stores, but how did you start on the online?
Excuse me. So do you want to take that one or should I?
Water.
We still have pollen here, and I'm highly allergic. So excuse
South
me.
Florida.
It's still 95 degrees.
It's like
here.
95 degrees outside.
Yes, I've heard.
So he had actually.
You have to forget a little food. Sorry. You good.
Yeah, because you have snow now, right?
Don't you guys have snow out there?
Half the state's on fire right now. I can barely breathe. So.
Annette.
Wow.
So we had, as we have mentioned a few times, I had owned clothing stores. When Brad met me, he was a welder at the time. Nice. And shortly after, about a year into our relationship, we decided why don't we work together? The clients loved him. You know, he's charming, he's sweet, and all that. So it was just a nice mix. But, you know, look, the economy had changed. Even back, you know, a few years ago, as most people know, brick and mortar was already tanking. You know, so we went from being able to sell, you know, $900 D-squared polos and $1,800 Gucci jeans to people wouldn't give you $10 for something. So we're like, you know what? Brick and mortar's over. We did it. We did it well. Let's take a couple of years off. And we did. And we moved north for a couple of years. Hated the cold. Moved back. It was just too much. And my sister, who had like dozens and dozens of designer bags that I had bought her for birthdays and holidays and Mother's Day gifts. I didn't realize how many.
I'm sorry, Letty. Put Marco on, please, because he's giving his sister designer bags. Letty, you know, Wave Goods. She's my sister-in-law, and she's watching. So I want her to put my brother on. Yeah. He can hear you say that you gave your sister designer bags.
Yeah. So I didn't realize that she hated most of them.
So she sold them.
I figured out that she was putting them all on Poshmark, and she was selling like $2,000 bags for $50.
Oh.
She didn't realize how much they were worth. No joke. Brand new with the boxes and all that. So we were talking about it one day, and I said, you know what? We're tired of the whole brick and mortar.
The overhead was
overhead. We had 65,000 square feet under air. So it was between all the stores, of course. Not anything like
credit cards.
And we were sitting in our apartment at the time in Maryland, and I'm like, you know what? There has to be an easier way. There has to be something that, I mean, we weren't technically officially retired, but we didn't want to work as hard as we used to. You know, and brick and mortar chain is ridiculous. Yep. So we put a couple things on Poshmark. They sold because I thought it was a bunch of hocus pocus. You know, who really does this? Who buys a bunch of old shit? And, you know, and you actually, and you actually make money on it. And aside from like antique furniture. And it took off, and we kept investing more time, and now we invest a lot of time, I think, like most of us do. And it just kind of happened that way. It was very kind of natural, the process. And my sister giving away everything I ever bought her was pretty great. It really helped us in our future.
So thank you to your sister.
I bought her a pair of
Hashtag seed money.
Louis Vuitton lucite earrings, which are so highly sought after now. Now they go, people trying to find them for like $1,200 to $1,300. I paid 7 bills for it. She sold them for $25. Let's leave it at that.
Next,
$25 with the
Next.
receipt.
you and Tiffany really well.
No.
Yeah, because
I can't.
that's all
I
I
can't.
needed.
I
Yep.
just can't.
You're a good man. I would have killed her.
It was hard.
You know I would. No, I wouldn't. I love my sister and my brother. Rosanda, who started first?
So I did. I just started by selling my kids' clothes. You know, I had a full-time job, and so I would just throw the clothes on the floor, take a quick picture of it. And when I first started, I didn't really understand how the app worked. It took me about probably 8 months to realize that you needed to share your closet. So I put it on the floor, took a few pictures of it, and then after about an hour, I'm like, why hasn't someone bought this? I mean, how is this working? And I think I sold that first dress maybe like 9 months ago or something. Like it took a long time, that very first dress. But after, I don't know, a few months of selling consistently one item a day, we started to realize that, you know, we could post the stuff I used to wear that I don't wear anymore. Sourcing wasn't even something we had ever heard of. No one we knew was on Poshmark. No one we knew were resellers. When we moved back, at this time we lived in California, we moved back to Colorado, and I still had a full-time job. It came with me, and we realized that we could source. We went to our first Posh and Sip and heard this magical word. So,
And we had, so there's like a Goodwill that's pretty close to us. And we live in a pretty nice area. So I remember we were driving by one day and I'm like, you know, if we're looking for stuff, we could probably go in there, and they probably got some really good stuff there. We could really source it and sell it. So we started to do that pretty consistently, started going a lot and picking up stuff. And really throw out some props to the Posh Kings here, because they're really the ones who opened the door for us as far as becoming serious resellers. Because before it was just something we saw we could do, make a few bucks, and it was like the whole side hustle kind of thing. And we're like, you know, this is kind of cool. And had a fabulous opportunity, met the Posh Kings, and they just really introduced us to a whole new world, which made it a lot more sustainable and a lot more just a whole, there's a bigger world out there.
well, that was almost a year and a half ago that we met Brad and John. And since then, I've been a job.
Their house is magnificent.
The house maybe
It's like pulling up in a mini house.
it is.
That's very sweet of you.
Out by them.
Yes.
Like
Aw.
Denver is the epitome of thrifting.
Yeah, they got it
Really
going
good.
on.
Yeah, we like it here.
We love it.
But since we met Brad and John, I've been able to quit my job, and I make more than I did with my corporate job. So.
Yep.
And you're making money for you and no one else.
Yeah, I mean, I pay our mortgage, and you know, for me, it's this is my job. This is what I do. Tab has always had a full-time job, but he is still the sourcer of the group. So
yeah,
he still does
So,
99% of it.
she does all the hard work and I do all the fun work. So
You do. Can we do that?
And all the good
Oh, we
stuff.
did.
Well, I source, but I also take pictures.
Okay.
Tab has
Yeah.
tried taking pictures, and it just didn't.
Oh, that's why I'm taking pictures.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm a micromanager, and it wasn't
Yes.
pretty. So he's like, here's the camera.
yeah,
You do you. I'll go shopping.
she's just got the iPhone. So I'm like, all, you know, click. I'm like, yeah, it's great. It's perfect. You know, post it. And she's like, oh my God, the color doesn't look right, and this isn't right, and it's leaning over, and like, what are you doing? And I'm like,
and didn't you see that the seam in the shoulder has to be this way, and they're not symmetrical? Yes.
Exactly. Think about being in front of the work on top.
Oh, that's how he calls me, like that. The woman in shop, the Food Network channel, the judge that is never enough for her.
Yeah. No, she was really good about it. She wasn't terrible or anything like that. She's just very particular, and she knows how she liked it. So, I could get along with it. And I just figured out, like, once we started getting into it and doing the sourcing, and I really just got educated with the brands and kind of figured out what was out there and knew what to start looking for. Then it was just like, I like to source because I like the adventure part of it, where you get to find something. It's like the treasure hunt, and I was sold. So as soon as she, started to get more involved with it, and then she showed me like, oh, hey, this is what it is, and I'm like, okay. And then I got the app and just started like I can follow people. I'm just like, and like competition to see how many people I could follow or how many things I could share or do whatever. And it just got super into it. And once she got me into it, it was game over. Game over.
He started helping me because I was still working a full-time job, but I was trying to build this business. So he started helping me by people and helping share the closet and stuff like that, which he still does. He still, we'll be watching TV over there going like this with the clicking it.
Clicking away. So
yeah, that's kind of like what we did.
Yep.
I started then last year. Was it last year? The year before? I was like, okay, I have a plan, a 2-3 year plan. I did my LLC. He wasn't involved because he was doing his thing, and I was gonna quit this year in January. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just wait until the boys are out of school so we can do, the whole thing, which is gonna take 6 more months. And I think by June, I quit, and all my pains and stresses are gone. And and then we talked. He was getting more and more into the business, and then we're like, let's just do it together. And he does the listings though, but he's too good and too too much. It's too much. I'm like, more simple. I'm like, just copy and paste the description, the title in the Brad. It's bad.
She wants me to put, here it is, buy it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the description. That's
just put the fee, and he goes to the website, whoever is selling, and he just wants to do it very similar as, oh no, it's too much. It's a waste of time.
The best is when you see like a listing for a $2,000 Versace dress.
It's
and they
dress.
Put dress.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, no, but you can say long sleeves or ruffles.
And no shame, no harm to anybody, but
no shame.
$2,000, you better get on.
Yeah, dress.
Yeah, so that's been hard for me to let go. And I tell him, but he doesn't care. He just ignores me. So we went through this. How is it to work together? We thought it was going to be worse than it is. We're actually doing good. We haven't had fights. He just looks at me and ignores me. And we each have an office. And I think of something and I run to his office and tell him. And then I go back and go visit him like 20 times a day. Also my ADHD, I have problems, like seriously. And by that 10th time, he's just like, So I'm like, why are you like that? But that's, and then I get over it. Hi, baby.
This is Kevin.
This is Kevin.
Kevin.
He's trying to
say hi to Kevin.
What's
I see you in pictures.
That's it. We pulled him away from his Lunchable, so that's all we did. That's it, guys.
We had 30 seconds. It was good. We made it.
But when I don't visit him, he comes after like 3 hours, by the midday, and he's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are we okay?"
You know how when you have a small child and everything's silent, there's something going on, and you just want to make sure
that nothing's like burning down the house.
There you go.
No, but we're good. It's we're having fun.
Yes, we are.
Yeah,
we're having fun, and exactly. And what I loved about that shot about your son being in the shot is this is something that I mean, I was in corporate for 22 years, and I was on the road all the time. I was busy all the time. If I was home, I was locked in my room, or in my office, and to reclaim that time, when I see that with your child, that's what it's all about. And and the fact that we're together, you're with your partner, it's indescribable, because you can spend the rest of your life trying to make money and not acquire anything, while everything that you wanted to acquire you have in front of you. So it's kind of like you have to understand that.
And I couldn't say enough, because in what we dealt with the stores, obviously we constantly had to rotate around the stores, check on this person, check on that, pick
we
up
never
deposits.
saw each other 7 days a week. We never saw each other.
Literally
live separate lives.
18 hours a day, didn't see each other. We'd see each other to sleep, and we worked 7 days a week.
Yeah.
I'd be on the phone calling, I'm going to Pompano, you have to go to Security Boulevard, meaning the store location, so on and so on. We didn't have a life.
We don't have like a life.
This is actually has given us a better life with each other than we probably ever could have had otherwise in our former career, which, look, it was great. Now, and I'll be honest, we made a lot of money back then, meaning it's kind of hard in this right now for what we're doing in resale to combat 9 stores. But the difference is sometimes in life you have to choose happiness. You still need to be able to make money that you can live a quality, happy, prosperous life. But sometimes the excess is not worth as much as having happiness.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the freedom.
Correct. I mean,
The
we're
freedom.
like getting tanked at a bar and poshing. I mean, that's what we're known for. Ask any of your that's all they love to talk about.
Yes, but especially when you two couples don't have children, but Rob up top and Rochelle can agree with this, that when you have, well, mine are almost 15, but they're still in the house, and you still have to take them to the doctor, once a year or twice or whatever when they get sick, and we do.
Okay.
And or the fact that you don't have to ask anybody for the day off or for a couple of hours off to take your child to the doctor, that alone is just like, wow. Because
and with Kevin, I mean, he's autistic and transgender, so we have doctor's appointments.
Yep.
Yeah.
Couldn't be prouder.
Excellent.
He's amazing. He's so cute.
Kevin,
He's just an amazing little person.
he is awesome.
But yeah,
Fantastic.
so like you said, Carla, I couldn't do this. I couldn't take care of him and be here for him while I was working in America. Even though my job was from home, I worked from home, but I was locked in an office for 9 or 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
And it's important to look at the whole big picture of everything. And like you said, it's the things that you really want in life are usually right in front of your face. And working too hard to make this better life for yourself and make things easier, and you're really not, because you keep putting into the system that's making it so hard on yourself in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, I worked a graveyard shift up until recently, and it was the same thing, where you come to a realization where you're like, it's just not worth it, because I'm working nights. Everyone else is awake during the days. You're in opposite schedules of each other, and everything that you're trying to accomplish with your family and with your life is kind of just, you're losing it all the time.
Yes.
But
it's
we
just
got to DM with you in the middle of the night because we wake up at 3 a.m. every morning.
And we was talking to him on the shift. We're like, hey, Tab, what'd you guys find today? And he's like,
Looking at this pair of
I'm
Versace
like, it's
heels.
4 o'clock in the morning. Go to bed.
and I'm like, I'm getting ready to go to sleep. Like I'm.
What about you,
Yeah.
Tiffany? How do you feel about it?
Well, before reselling, we were already working together.
I mean, most things since we got together, not just friends. We've worked together. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Like we work at we help with my family's restaurant, and then
Amazing.
what was that?
I was saying, it's amazing.
It's wonderful.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, so he joined my family with that, and then when we first got together, I was helping him with his family's job, and then he came over and helped with mine. And then we also have a personal training business together, so we did
Oh,
that.
we're gonna DM you.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so we do that together.
And then I also work at a school, so I'm a financial aid administrator for a vocational school.
Wow.
And he also helped teach at the school, so we were doing that together too.
And the school needed a janitorial service, so I was like, hey, I can do that too.
So
We do that together.
Whole schedule, like on a daily basis.
Wow, you guys, and they do pallets. Oh my God!
Men,
How do you find the time for you guys?
We're doing it together, so there you go.
That's
Yeah, but it's different to be together and go to dinner and have a good time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, well, we have our things. Like
No.
we're night owls, so we'll be up really late. So it's funny, like they're joking around about texting people on opposite coasts. We text people on opposite coasts, and they're waking up to say their good mornings on Instagram, and we're like, "Oh, awesome, good night."
I did it.
this morning, yes.
I wanted to say something. At that time, who is the one, you guys, John or Brad, who wakes up at 4 in the morning?
Okay.
That is awesome.
Normally, we both wake up between 2 and 4 and start working.
Yeah.
But also because we believe in ghosts, so we believe
I
that
do too.
ghosts come out at 2:30 in the
Really
morning,
sad.
and between 2 and 3:30, that's the witching hour. So
Yeah.
like I see people in the middle of the night, I'm seeing people. I might as well get up and work.
And
Like
that's why I text everybody. I'm like, okay.
we both are early risers.
we are.
So what time do you guys go to bed?
8 o'clock.
Like 45 minutes ago, boo.
So if you guys go to bed later today, would you wake up later tomorrow, or you will wake up at the same time?
No, same
No,
time.
Same time.
Normally, the latest we'll wake up, unless like something weird, freakish happens, like 6 or 7. Like if we've really slept in for the day, but otherwise, it's normally the standard is like 4:30, and we start poshing right away.
Our
Or
brains-
whatever app we're working on, because we just like I think most people here,
We're on
we're on multiple apps.
So you have to like
Yeah.
try to get the day set early. So
Well, because we're different than most people, and I think everybody has what works for their schedule. We're kind of like we call ourselves the 9 to 5 postures, where by like 4 or 5 o'clock on the East
we're
Coast,
kind of like signed out.
we're pretty much done. Like I'm ragged out.
It's happy hour, dinner
Now-
time.
Yeah, we'll still share a little bit or something like that. Maybe send out an offer or something. But we're like day people now, and that was a luxury that we chose to have that we didn't have with the stores. That I would much rather start getting at it, and so would he. When we
Yeah.
wake up in the morning, have coffee, sit on the sofa,
And get
watching
going.
the news,
Yep.
the crazy news these days, and, and start doing whatever we're going to do. But yet we like to have our evenings and live whatever this means, a traditional life.
Because you have to have some
not the
kind of
late- we're not the late
separation
guys.
or some kind of like normal life.
So
So,
who does what?
And with us,
Yes.
as in what?
I'll make
Like
kind
pictures and listing and sourcing. Who?
I think it's kind of a blanket statement. Obviously, we both love the source because it is the
It is fun. Everybody loves the source.
It's the
I mean,
chase.
you guys not agree?
the taste of
Yeah.
finding
Yeah.
that.
But I do.
It's like.
I mean, it's like taking a hit of crack when you
It
find
really
something
is the best
really
part.
hard.
I agree.
I really, it is.
And
You
we're
don't rest until you find something. When you find something, then you light up.
Yeah.
Did coke in the 80s. Just saying. You know, you had to do it back in the 80s.
censorship.
But no, but it's exhilarating. The other things that I think probably most couples that we have spoke with, everybody has strong points or strengths or weaknesses.
Yep.
So what we have done, and I think it often, even though there is a little bit of carryover, you know, between the two of us, I think there's certain things that, like, Brad cannot do a repair to save his life.
I can't sew. I can't glue. I can
Like,
clean shoes, but I
you
can't glue.
And whatever, you know, I
He's a
do
sewer.
100% of our listings on Poshmark.
Yeah.
He carries them over to the other
I
apps
process everything.
because I just don't want to.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, so he's like, you know, lists perfectly, you know, boss here with all of that.
I do all that while he's listing.
And we find it's more efficient for us. I think some people, you know, they do more crossover, but we find it's more efficient for the day. He knows what he's going to do. I don't get his way.
I don't get his
I know
way.
what I'm going to do. He leaves me alone. You know, because keep in mind, we're probably only apart maybe 20 minutes a week. We're 7 days a week around the clock, and we love it and we get along. You know, and it helps because I'm always right, so we get along with that. That's kind of our, you know, synchronicity. Whatever. Really, it comes down to understanding your partners, your husbands, your wives, whoever, their strength and your own strength. And I think sometimes it just works better that way rather than, like, you know, I think it's different if you start bringing staff into the picture and so forth and so on, and you're, you know, handing off duties. But for us, I don't tell him what to do about what he does best. He stays out of my way when you know, about something that I feel, you know, or he believes I'm stronger in. And it keeps things more kind of, I know it's an old word, but copacetic, where you know, if I'm not telling him what to do, he's not telling me what to do because he trusts me, I trust him.
And that's what we're business.
And then there's certain things that obviously we come together with that obviously, you know, maybe we don't agree on. And then we kind of hash those out. Otherwise, we stay out of each other's hair. And
how do you hash things out? How do you come to a conclusion when, because that's one of the questions, when you don't agree with something?
Now, a lot of people won't agree.
You're welcome, Brad.
This one, all ears.
Because I'm typically pretty like that. I'm the same all the time with most things, unless I just take it to the bitter end and then I lose my shit.
Who's the most passionate?
You're not to cuss.
Who's the crazy? Because I'm the crazy.
This one.
I am. I'm a Cancer. I'm crazy.
I'm not crazy. I'm passionate.
I'm a
Right, Brad?
I'm a
Passionate, not
crazy.
crazy. Passionate.
Yeah, I'm a passionate
You
person.
walk out the front door, you would think he's the sweetest little pussycat, but he is total
Behind
bananas.
closed doors, I'm psychopath.
I could see that.
And I
I see you, baby. I see you. I see you, Brad.
I think it's going to
Take
depend
one
on.
to know one.
It's going to depend on like whatever you're talking about with it, because like I'm the crazy one when it comes to like the sourcing. Like I can go out and source like for 4 days straight and not take a break and not eat and not drink and just go like, there's something out. You got to drag me out. And but if yeah, she has actually dragged me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm gonna leave you here, you know.
Like it is feeding time. We have to.
Have to go, and I'm like, no, there's like at least 2 more racks I haven't looked through yet. There's got to be something there. That's me. So I'm crazy that way. But also, like if you're talking about like taking photos or something like that, then that's
she's crazy.
She's very particular. Not crazy. She's particular with what she wants. So, but where I would be more like
passionate with her pictures.
Passionate. There you go. She's passionate in her art. That's So that's where she would be more on that level. So I think it depends on what you're talking about for us. But otherwise, we're both pretty even.
And see, I call it quits. I'm like, babe, my feet are swelling. We need to get the hell up out of here.
It's happy hour time. It's dinner time.
I need a drink.
We need a drink. We need a bed.
Exactly.
I'm swole. I'm done.
Allbirds, I don't care what they say. Your feet still swell in Allbirds.
This is not an affiliate ad, by the way. No hashtag. There's no hashtag.
Come on, Tiffany, who's the passionate in your relationship?
Well, I think so. We both grew up working, so but she's focused. So if she's working,
I can work, and he has to pull me out of the room to stop working because I'll work until 4 in the morning. And so, like with the pallets, he was like looking at the time. He's like, it's 3 o'clock now. I'm like, but I'm almost done. I'm inputting this right now.
But likewise, if she's working, I will do something to be busy too. Like I won't watch TV, even if I check out. Like I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go share closets. I'm gonna send offers. You're doing that. Okay, it's 3 in the morning. I'm gonna go ship, and I'll go ship. Until finally, I'm like, all right, so like that's the last box, right? Yeah. And then I mean, I'm nuts in other ways. Like I'm always goofing around. So yeah.
Yeah.
But that makes it fun to do it together.
Yes.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's no like quiet time.
No, I'm not quiet. There's no quiet
loud.
work. Yeah, I'm loud.
Latino loud and proud.
Exactly. We always have Spanish music in the house.
And he stands
I like how many words that we've come up with for crazy.
We got clinical diagnosis for it.
Yep. I check it tomorrow.
What would you change? Like we were talking about this the other day, and we were like, what would we change when we started, or when I started to now? And I think our answer is to start earlier, like when our kids were smaller. We would have changed the time, right?
Time that was short.
Yes, and other things, like as I said, I'm passionate. So when I see a shirt that I like, I didn't go through it, and I get home and it has like a hole, and he's like, but how did you not see it? And I'm like, I don't know, or a stain, or because again, I have a
passionate
condition.
Condition.
I do clinically, and I don't take pills for it, which I should, but I don't want to. But we're treating it. But there's in other ways. Yes, I know my flaws. So when I'm gonna send something, I'm trying, when I remember, to have him look at it before I send it, because I was gonna send a pallet to my best friend's house in Florida.
That's not your house.
And it was, yes, that's how bad it is. So I had to reroute the pallet before. It was a mess. And we were in North Carolina when I found out. So yeah. That's another show.
Pallet show.
Can't wait for that one.
Yes.
I don't want to remember.
So now before we order anything, I'm like, okay, what do you think about this? And we talk about it. Yeah, because with the pandemic and everything, we're trying not to go sourcing, which I miss it a lot. And we found that pallets are right now a better way for us to
remain safe.
Yes. But I'm still gonna go as soon as I can, because I love thrifting. Now. So see, I forgot the question.
What we would change?
What would we change?
Yes, thank you, Brad or Tab. Thank you.
It's Hugo. Hugo gets all the credit for that one.
Hugo, I didn't say your name. Oh, we found a palette, Lizette. They brought it to our house, and I posted a video of it.
Yes.
I didn't post the back story, but yes. That was the story of the palette. God, what would you have? What would you change on this project?
Well, with us, I think I don't know if there's anything I'd really change.
I think similar to you, where we would have started much earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Around our wedding, maybe to pay for our wedding. We paid for our wedding, we did, and like no help from family and stuff, and like looking back, we're like, man, if we only knew about reselling at that time, we could have used that money towards that.
Oh yeah, I mean, starting early would have been great. I mean, but the way we see it too is it's all been a learning process, because I know we had YouTube while we were getting into it, but we're still making our own mistakes.
Right.
And I'd rather I'd rather make a mistake with $20 than $2,000.
Yeah.
Of course.
And I mean, we've done them all different types of mistakes, and that's why I appreciate the timeline we've had.
Yeah.
But we agree, yeah, same with us. Sourcing has changed, and we love sourcing, going to thrift, but the
pallets have been great.
The pallets have been great and safer, I guess, yeah.
Because how bad is it out by you guys right now? Is it very bad and shut down?
We're the top, so it's not as bad as in maybe the city, but we go to the city too. I'm sorry, I'm gonna let you talk.
The biggest problem is that, and how can I put this diplomatically? Our numbers are pretty much underreported, and it's pretty much a given.
Same here.
And because they don't want to panic everybody, so I watched. I've been studying this thing 24/7 since the beginning, so it's kind of like I've seen the trends, and whether you think that you're safe or not, it's a virus, so it's not something that you can just see it on somebody's hand or somebody's face, or know that you come in contact with it. So irregardless of what the numbers are, do you really want to take the chance? And I have an asthmatic son, that if something were to happen, who knows? But also my healthy son, my wife, me, you never know how it's going to react. I mean, a woman died on a plane the other day, and she was 30 years old, out on an airplane from Corona.
Let's just not go
that
dark.
It's
still
so I just always like to be safe, and I hope that we're all safe and get through this.
Rose, what is
now, real fast, like Hugo and Tiffany, is it the same way out by you guys?
Well, a lot of places are still shut down where we are.
Yeah, so it's a very slow process to reopening everything.
I mean, like thrift stores are open, but our thrift stores are really cautious. They're limited amount of people inside, and when you get in, there's a whole speech that they give you before you can actually grab a cart. They tell you what you're supposed to do, 6 feet apart. There's lines and marks all over the floor. Our bins are really careful as well. So our bins, they're only allowing the same number of people to carts inside our bins, only one person per bin. The Goodwill employees are yelling at people if they are rushing or trying to get to a second cart, if they're getting too close to people.
That's fantastic, by the way.
Which, like, our Denali up in Seattle, she was telling us she went to the bins and it was crazy there.
She said it was like there was back to normal.
Yeah, whereas, and ours is like they're really cautious, and I think they're scared of getting shut down again. So they're taking every precaution. And then I also have an autoimmune disease, so us staying at home is to my benefit.
Yeah, and that's what we tell people. It's not just her, because I mean we share a bed, so if I go out and get anything,
exactly.
So
we all have responsibility to each other as partners, as teammates. Yeah,
husband, wife.
Yes. Yes. Tap and Rochelle, what did you guys would change if you were to start back? What would you do different?
I wish that I had gotten involved sooner in the Posh and Sips, or even like social media. I mean, we're relatively new, even like the past year and a half probably, to social media, just because that's where we've learned so much. Like I didn't even know Posh and Sips were a thing until we've been on Poshmark for over a year, and that's where we learned so many.
Much from them.
So much from the Posh and Sips, so much from the community. Just to log into Instagram and see people's suggestions, and like I said, I didn't even know I needed to share the closet. It was like, what am I supposed to do? You know, you get all these welcome messages, which are really nice, and I appreciate that people would do that, but I was overwhelmed with the app when I first started. I didn't know how to navigate it, and I was like, who are all these people telling me if I have questions to ask them?
Following me? What am I supposed to do with this?
And you know that you should follow people, or that you should share your closet, or whatever it is you're supposed to do. So for me, I wish that I had known those things sooner and gotten more involved in the community earlier.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I think it would have been nice to, there's so many things that you can say. Like I think the standard for everybody is probably that they wish they would have done it sooner, because they realize the value and everything. So I think that's everybody's thing, like, oh, to get in on the first part of the wave, you know, and to do that kind of stuff. I think that just more knowledge. I wish I would have gotten more knowledge on the front end of it, to look at how the process works, so that you can say, okay, instead of just saying, well, we can sell our stuff, or I can go to Goodwill and buy certain brands, like to get the knowledge up front, to say, well, what brands are going to sell, or what kind of have like more of a business plan idea to it, instead of just hey, it's a side hustle, we're going to make a couple bucks and this is going to be great. I think to be organized sooner would have been nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I started on eBay, so when my friend told me about Poshmark, I was like, "What? Okay, I'll post something." And then she was like, "Yeah, but you're supposed to share." I'm like, I was working full time. I didn't have time to share. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't like Poshmark. And now I love Poshmark. Remember?
Yes.
And now I love Poshmark. I love their system. And I wouldn't change. And also, as Rachel said, that the Posh and Sips are so good for us, with the relationships, and we're kind of like, and I think that's why we all also like Instagram so much, because we don't have coworkers. Like, we are coworkers. Does that make sense? And sharing and commenting on Instagram, and we learned this from the Posh Kings. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
How important it is to, God, I can't say that word. To share and to comment and to
engage with the community.
Yeah, engage with everybody, and you grow, and we all grow together, and there's enough for everybody. There's enough buyers for all of us to share our knowledge. So
I think that's a great point, because I feel like the thing with Poshmark, like you said, you have to share your closet. There's things that you have to do, which makes it like more work, than some of it's not like an eBay fire and forget kind of platform. You have to put in some time and you have to put in some effort. But the upside of all that is that there's just this awesome community of people that you can learn from. So when you get on Instagram, like, it drives us nuts when you see on Instagram people like selling the program and saying, here, come take my class and I'll show you how to be successful at this. When it's like, yeah, there's 1,000 other people who you could just be friends with and just interact with and get the same knowledge.
Yes.
And that's the community, I think, is really what sets it apart for us. Like, Poshmark is by far our favorite.
Yes. Yes.
If I may, I mean, obviously, again, like I think most everyone on the screen and probably most of the viewing audience sell on multi-platforms. But I will say that it's interesting, because obviously we were just on Poshmark alone probably for the first 2.5 or 3 years.
Yeah, I think so.
And it was us sitting in the north, and the gray. You know, we had a beautiful apartment. It was marvelous, but
it was,
you know, it Poshmark gives you community, and it gives you somebody to talk to. It's like it's almost like we are a support system to each other. You know, the other apps, look, you know, and I'm sure just like all of you,
Yes.
we do very well with.
Right, you don't have camaraderie with all the other
Yes.
members.
You know, so I think especially for in single, when I say single, I don't mean necessarily single as in not married or no boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, but the single seller who's sitting at home, they're a one-man band.
It could be a very lonely.
Especially with COVID. One-man band, I have to like clean a bunch of dirty shoes and like take pictures of them. How sad is that?
And like, shop and source. And
so the advantage is between social media and the structure of Poshmark itself, it has created a support system for all of us, and some more than others. Just and not meaning like they may not have as many people that are involved with it around them as we are fortunate to have.
Yes.
But that's really I think the best part about Poshmark.
Because you don't get it on any other platforms. Like,
No.
You can sell, but you don't get that aspect.
You sell all day long, but you don't get that camaraderie of having friends through a social app.
Yep.
It's a wonderful community, and you know, as Tuck said, I don't, you know, you do you, boo, but I always say,
me too now.
If
Now we've all seen it.
if you know, as I always say, if and it's not because you're here, but and my friends that are here could always attest to this. If the Poshkings don't chart, who am I to chart? You know what I mean? If you guys don't chart for advice, no one. I'm not gonna say no one should, because again, if that's depending on each person. But I don't think I would, unless someone wants something more of, it depends, more of your time and more dedicated to you. That's different.
Of course.
Yeah.
And look, there are lots of people that do lots of amazing things and have different insights. And everybody has their thing. It's a touchy subject. Some people are all about it, and other people will call the police on you for it. Seriously.
Like people that report, I never report unless they are, want to scam me, then I report to Poshmark. But if you're selling whatever you're selling, I don't care. It doesn't bother me if you're selling used to whatever. You know what I mean? You know? It's, girl, if you're selling them, good for you.
If somebody buys them.
Yeah.
But related to your point earlier about the community and the networking, so we sell on all kinds of platforms, some heavily, some not so much, but really all that is we've learned from interacting with the community. Mm-hmm. We've had friends that
like some of our closest friends now are people we met on the internet.
Sure.
We met at eBay Open. We met at Posh Fest.
We met here in LA because we happen to be in the same area. But with others, like our friends from San Diego, Pure Hustle Podcast, they helped us. Orlando taught us a lot about Amazon.
And we met him on IG. He happened to source in LA and asked if we wanted to have dinner one day.
Oh, that's so cool.
And that sparked our
friendship. So, pre-COVID, he'd stop by multiple times a year, come by, stay, and we'd go sourcing. And even if we couldn't source because we were gated on things, we were just learning through helping him out. It was really just like an apprenticeship kind of thing. And then we would, with other friends, have helped us with Poshmark and shown us new brands, liquidations. Mm-hmm. But it's all from the community, and it's engaging with the community, not just liking or sending a heart, like actually talking.
Yeah, direct messages. And
yes.
That's amazing.
We have a group like that too, and it's if always, and I think as you guys, if whoever has a question, we're all open to answer if we know it, and if we don't, then we'll direct to someone that we think might help.
Yep.
100%. I know Rochelle and Tap have to go. Are you okay, guys, or do you guys have to go?
Oh no, we're okay.
Yeah,
I gave him a lunch as well, so he's all right.
Awesome.
He's pretty self-sustaining.
That's so cute.
Was it
I
him?
just have a couple more questions.
My
Yeah,
favorite.
if he leaves me with food, I'm okay too.
Me too.
Me too.
Yeah.
The same way.
So-
I fed everyone, so everyone's good.
Yeah, and they were still here, and then I was like, time to go up. So went through this. How does this pandemic has affected? I'm translating because we have the, as I said, in Spanish, and I didn't want to write the questions again. So because I'm bilingual.
Are you?
Oh my God, I know you can't tell because I don't have an accent. It's hard to tell, but
Yeah, she sounds like a true Georgia girl.
True Georgia girl.
he used to say that our dogs will bark with an accent.
That's a
He's
good
so
one.
sweet. How does this have affected the business, and what changes have you done, Brad and John? We'll start with you.
Well, and it sounds corny, but I have to be honest. We, I'm middle-aged, and I am not
So
skinny.
am I.
Yeah, you're thin and you're not middle-aged. Let's back this up.
I'm 40.
The changes is that everyone, could possibly get it, but obviously I'm in an age bracket that we have to be a little
Very
extra careful.
Also, South Florida is reckless.
So we have definitely relied more on our contacts for bringing in merchandise. We are fortunate that, because we've been in the business for so many years, we know so many people that own stores, and now, what used to be retail stores, now they're consignment stores.
Yeah.
And if they're having a slow month, the last day of the month they need to pay the rent, they're on the hotline saying, I have 6 pairs of Chanel shoes, I have this, I have that, I have
some
so
Gucci
forth
bags.
and so on. They send us pictures, and
We drive up.
well, we don't drive up anymore. They send us down to us. We used to drive. We don't do so anymore. And we agree to it. They take our card, and we try to keep the least amount of contact possible. And look, there's a double side to it. It's a shame because it really is changing our world and how we as humans. But, just like all of you, our business has to go on.
Yeah.
We have to be creative in how we stay safe and how we still prosper at the same time. I think we try to reduce possibly the risky situations. And look, this is nothing against the bins, nothing at all, because it is a huge resource for many resellers, and it's great.
Yeah.
And they find amazing merchandise. But
How's it here?
there was a video that we saw from a friend of ours that is an active bin shopper here in South Florida, because we're in Fort Lauderdale, and it was such mayhem.
It looked scary.
That I just hope whatever they can do to protect themselves. When you have 80 to 100 people clamoring on top of each other, literally on top of each other, and the mask isn't over the nose, and it's like,
oh my, what is that? The mask under the nose? Like, seriously?
Down here, they don't care.
It's our hope. Look, we all want to prosper.
We're in the same boat here in Georgia. I mean, I'm sorry for interrupting you. Here in Georgia, the thrift stores that we've gone, and even and Goodwill, which is the one that we go the most, they are very particular with the masks.
Yeah.
And the other day, a lady came in without a mask
Because she had a condition,
and they did not let her in.
Yeah, they wouldn't let her in because over here they're just defiant. It's more defiance than anything else. It's like if I wear a mask, that means that I'm weak or that I'm trying
a Democrat.
to be political. Exactly. And,
I think that's universal.
it's ridiculous and scary.
I got in an argument with a lady at the store who refused to
I
put
love
her
you
mask
so
on.
much, Rochelle, right now. Please tell us.
She
What happened?
worked there. she worked there, and we were looking at something behind the counter, and her mask was down, and I assumed she didn't realize her mask was down. And I asked her to put it up, and she's like, "It's fine the way it is." And I'm like, "Actually, it's not, because it doesn't work if it's not." And what did she say? It doesn't affect me.
Yeah, she's like, oh, it's not. She's like, I'm fine with it, and we're like, yeah, you understand that you wear a mask to protect me. Like you're doing it to protect the other
But
person.
she worked there. So
Yeah.
I, of course, had to pull my Karen card and talk to the manager,
Yeah.
you know, because I am sorry, I don't have a small mouth. I have a very large mouth, and I have a hard time not saying what's on my mind, and it just pissed me off. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're going. Wear the freaking mask and don't be an idiot about it.
Yeah.
And she worked there, so she pissed me off. But it was fine. Her name was Turquoise, and she put the mask on, and we paid.
In general, look, and it doesn't matter what our party is, where we come from, that you know. Look, nobody likes wearing these stupid masks. I hate wearing them, but I always wear them. That's what.
Don't you feel like your face is gonna break out, like right there? Like you feel it breaking out?
Girl, I'm fat.
He cut his beard because of the masks.
Oh, with the beard, it just feels like a swamp.
It's so itchy.
Mine's now because that. I got you, Hugo.
You know,
I'm just like huffing and it's just all swampy.
Yes.
You know,
I had a full. I was like going a full ZZ Top.
And I love him with his beard.
And I had to cut it off.
I mean, I love him without too. I do.
No, but you're right.
I like his beard.
Wearing a mask is not some political statement. It's not saying that one is better than the other, anything like that. Because it's just saying like that you just appreciate that this is protecting you and it's protecting somebody else. That's really all it is.
You know,
It's supposed to be an American thing, not a political thing. Simple, an American thing.
And
We protect each other. We love each other as Americans. We take care of one another.
I know, but unfortunately, and that would be another show, it has become political.
Yes, but like we're all.
Can I be on that show?
Yes, please.
all resellers, sellers, whatever, you know, we're down and dirty. We want the deal.
Deals, we want.
But I think the important thing is, and what I implore anyone, where they're from, their political background or affiliation, protect yourself. You know, a blouse is not worth you affecting you, and that was a personal choice we made. Yeah. Look, we're fortunate right now. We're going back into this. We have a ton of merchandise, but if that happens and it slows down, I still would rather protect myself and make the right choice. Say you find a product, but please make the right choices and protect yourself, your families, and your community as a whole.
What if they're PSA?
Yeah. I know, right?
PSA. Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Oh, Tiffany and Hugo, how has this affected you?
Well, we changed our business to pallets. I think that was
so
the
this
biggest
is the push
change.
for pallets. Yeah. Because before that, I mean, being in LA, we have a lot. I mean, right around us, how many? We have like
where we live, we probably have 4 Goodwills within 7 miles in each direction. There's a St. Vincent de Paul that's the largest thrift store in LA. That's 5 minutes from us. We have the LA Bin. You know, so thrift stores is just abundant here. And
so pre COVID, that we didn't really see the.
We can't say that word. I'm sorry.
Yes,
we have to say pandemic.
Oh,
pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic, we were shopping out there because we didn't see the purpose for the liquidations yet.
Yeah.
Preferring and doing our part to stay home and do our part for her and us, you know, together.
I don't think we left. Like, I didn't leave the house a single time until probably mid-May, because he would go out and pick up groceries, and that was the extent of you going out.
Yeah, we'll just go to the market like once a week.
groceries and the post office.
Mhm.
And then as numbers were starting to go down, I think the thrift stores out here didn't open until July.
Something like that.
And then
we opened too soon here.
We opened up quickly over here.
Oh yeah, so ours
It was
took
like, hey,
a long
herd
time.
immunity, here you go. You know, let's have the guinea pig experiment. So
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Ours definitely took a lot longer, and once they opened, we still waited about a month to see what the trends were going to look like, and then we finally went to one and spent maybe 30 minutes in there, and there was only 5 other people in the entire store, and everyone was keeping their distance, and we felt okay with it. But we still didn't feel completely comfortable sourcing, frequently. So I think that's what pushed us to go the liquidation route. And that's really been the biggest change for our business.
Yeah, because pre everything, we would go probably do 3 to 4 stores in a couple hours. Just go knock them out. But now for us, it's just increasing your likelihood of exposure. The more and more stores we're going to, so instead of going through multiple stores, like we're just like, you know what, let's take it easy. And then also after liquidation, we're finding the prices in LA for our stuff is going up. Mm-hmm. So we'll find used dresses at the price of,
we're paying like $5 a piece for new with tags, and then you're finding a used dress for $10. It's really hard to come up with that kind of money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that palettes changed our
our
view.
mindset. Yeah.
Good for you.
I miss going to thrift stores, but I also miss more going to state sales. I love state sales so much.
Yeah. So between she learned clothes, because when we started, we didn't do clothes. But she saw the profit in the clothes, women's clothing, and LA is abundant in it. So she started picking it up, and she was learning a lot about women's clothing brands. And I was doing hard goods. I was doing old electronics, new electronics, different stuff. So we really had different specialties. But as we sheltered in place,
learning more.
I'm learning more clothes because I'm not getting the hard goods that I used to go get.
Sure.
Yeah. Rochelle and Tab, how has it changed you guys? And how do you?
At the beginning, it was the same as Hugo and Tiffany. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't leave the house at all from when they started the stay-at-home orders until it was lifted. Tab would do all the sourcing, all the grocery shopping, stuff like that. But he also was working outside the house. So our logic was, if we have to expose, he'll do. Yeah, and he actually slept in our son's room for like 2 months because as a police officer, he had a higher chance of becoming infected. So Kevin moved in with me, which was super fun.
I got my own room for a couple months.
Job's sleeping all good. I've got a 10-year-old kicking me in the back.
I was sleeping in a nice twin bed.
But I don't know if I think it affected us so much on that level. We saw the business slow, so we had to change things around. We have to run more sales when the pandemic hit in order to keep things moving.
And we slowed down like when it first came out, and I was doing most of the sourcing and stuff, but I didn't go for probably a good 2 months.
Yeah, because
3 months maybe. They closed, everything was shut down, so we just kind of shut down, and we would just start doing more sales with ours, or just sharing our closet more and just kind of maintaining what we had. Instead of listing 5 or 10 things a day, we maybe just do 1 or 2 and just kind of trickle it in. And then when we finally got the chance to go back, then it would be you take every possible precaution, and when you go in there, if you see other people aren't doing that kind of stuff, you pull the plug on it and say it's not worth the risk. So
we also cross-listed a lot.
Yeah,
the time at home to cross-list a lot. Since I didn't have any new inventory. Really.
We really got into List Perfectly at that point, and that's where we started branching out to all the different platforms.
Don't you love List Perfectly?
It's wonderful.
Yes,
wonderful. But now we're just kind of at a point, like here in Colorado, they've kind of pretty much everything's open now. So
We treat it like it's not.
We treat it like
But
it's
it
not.
is.
We still act like we haven't gone out to eat in 6
haven't
months.
either.
So we still
Yeah.
treat it like it's bad. But
Here.
you know, at the same
I think we picked up food a couple of times, but not inside. Yeah,
Not
haven't
inside.
eaten, yeah.
We have not eaten inside a restaurant since God.
No.
There's a taqueria around our house that we love, and I was like, okay, let me go in and see if they are wearing masks and gloves, because they usually don't. You know, it's like an in-store, like in local, you know, grocery store taquerias, like the best. You know, like the ones that they yell.
Yeah, but you got to set it up right because they sell. It's a grocery store that sells insurance. What else? They do MoneyGrams.
Yes,
they
of
do
course. Everything.
everything.
We know those.
Yes.
And then in the back is where the restaurant.
Down here too.
Right.
Yes, it's awesome. And they yell.
They're
And
big
they yell the order.
service.
Like tacos, burritos, you know. So it's really like really cool. I love it. I love like when the culture, like, you know, when you go to a Chinese restaurant and they don't speak English nor Spanish nor other language, and you see the mean old lady like that, she throws your food and she goes over it. It's love it. So I go in and I'm like, okay, so if they have the mask, then I'll order. If not, I'll just come right out. I came right out because no mask, no gloves, no nothing.
Yeah.
There you go.
And it was sad because we didn't get our tacos.
We did not.
We didn't get to
Yeah. And that's kind of, we just kind of slowed it down, but it's coming back, and we've just kind of kept along with the same plan that we have. We just do a little bit more online sourcing, stuff like that. So
Yeah, I guess that's true. We try to source a lot more online. Those Versace's that are just listed as dress.
Oh,
Wow.
those are nice. Yes. I sold a Versace dress like 2 years ago. Remember that we saw at state sale?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you forgot about my Givenchy.
Michael called it Givenchy. He doesn't call it Versace. Oh no, it was a Givenchy, no Versace. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was a Givenchy. No.
That's because we just sold the Versace.
Oh,
jeans.
that's why. Yeah, he sold the Versace jeans. Very exciting. I think I don't have any more questions. Do you guys have any questions for our panel? Speak now.
Who wants tacos?
I see tacos emojis.
Yeah. Now you're gonna have to make us pastor tacos.
Well, the good part about it is that I did learn how to make al pastor
did.
tacos. So.
Ooh,
Ooh, that's
yum.
delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, he made them really, really good. I don't see any questions.
Yeah, I mean, with this, for like the first few months, we did puzzles.
Yeah.
I did a lot of puzzles. And then there's a lot of cooking at home, which is great. And by
Right.
cooking at home, I mean, I'll do the dishes after she cooks.
Yeah.
I'm
See,
glad
we've
because
learned the
he likes
benefits
to
of
cook.
the keto lifestyle. So that's where we're going right now.
Okay.
To where?
We learned the benefits of the keto lifestyle.
After we spent 2 months eating Doritos and champagne for breakfast.
What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that?
It was wonderful. It was just,
Yeah.
champagne and Doritos and living a good life.
Not at the same time. Not at the same time.
No.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it was pretty good.
We started fasting.
Intermittent fasting.
Yeah. And we, except for today, because, I saved today to drink with you guys. But yeah, we started doing the fasting. What, Max?
It was
We
getting
just
bad.
found out that vodka was low sugar, so that's why you move over to vodka instead of wine. So
Yes.
we're good.
Well, I drink single malt scotch.
That's
That's it.
Yeah.
Straight. So
Exactly.
I don't have to worry about extra calories.
oh, I do.
Nice.
What what shots do you drink, Brad and John?
Well,
Tequila?
we rotate between tequila and vodka, and we just put a splash of like those diet
Fruit juices.
The
Ice sodas.
those ice sodas, those things.
From
Ice,
Publix
whatever.
or Kroger.
Yeah.
Bonds.
Bonds or Ralph's. I'm trying to think of
We
all
try
the
to
store
save our
brands.
calories for Doritos.
Yeah, like the ice brands.
Well, what's so funny, because we had actually lost a ton of weight prior to COVID, and we were really on track. I was much thinner than I am now, and so was he. But I have to be honest, there is something that, like, even if you're working at home, that is really our only side, and why we're looking, possibly renting a warehouse. There's a mindset when you work at home.
If you're bored or
as
tired.
opposed to when you get dressed and you leave. The space.
We're hungry.
Yeah.
It keeps you from eating so much. I almost feel like we need to rent a space and stop eating so much.
We're trying to go to the park in the morning too.
Yeah.
We've been pretty good about that.
I saw all your walks in the mornings.
Yes.
That's great. I mean, we do night
run, but my pace is really slow now. I used to run 4 or 5 miles straight like 3 years ago, and then it all went to hell, and now I'm trying to go back.
And you will.
Cynthia wants to know if Brad and John take naps during the day. No, Cynthia, they don't.
Our time is to wake up between 3 and 4 normally. That's the average hour. Work. We start packaging orders at 9 o'clock after coffee. And then 4 o'clock starts cocktail hour.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a little nippy, and then 6 o'clock we have dinner and a couple of drinks.
It's off to bed. It's like we're like way past our way past our bedtime.
We are burning the midnight
oil.
I
you know what's gonna happen tomorrow? Brad might miss in general tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys on Friday.
Thank you so much. Is there any stores that you guys recommend on like that?
So where's is that Kathia? Where's she from?
By any online sourcing you guys recommend? Any stores?
So I think.
Please go ahead.
Please, you go.
Oh no, I was just gonna say in general, you can even source where you sell, like we're saying, Poshmark, eBay, Mercari. But you're gonna have to look for the items from people who aren't reselling it, who are just unloading. People who would have normally sold that dress on at a yard sale. Instead of the yard sale, they're putting it up on Mercari to get their $5 after fees and stuff. So that's where you can. But you got to put in the work. And the other one I hear a lot is misspelling.
Yes.
Yes, I've heard about that. I haven't tried it yet, but yes. And there's a website, I think.
I forget the one, but I'm bad at spelling anyway, so I don't know how to spell it the first time.
I'll find out about the website, about the spelling, and I'll post it. My friend told me about it, so I'm hoping she remembers. I think it's monkey something, but I can't. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't remember it, but I remember hearing it.
Yeah.
Something interesting I might bring up, if I may, and I think all of you may agree with this. I think sometimes people get so wrapped up, especially if you come from, let's say, a bin mindset, that it's all about volume. More. But we're really noticing, once again, look, we've sold plenty of very well-priced items, just like most people have. It's all cool. It's all good. Whatever the price of the item is sold, you make a profit, it's a good day. However, what we're noticing is there is a real upswing in people willing to pay more for better items. So sometimes it's about working smarter and not harder.
Yeah.
I would rather sell 10 pricey items a day than 50,
to be the same equivalent.
Lower price items.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes people, as an example, Hugo, or is it Hugo?
Hugo, I heard it all.
They don't like you had mentioned, is that you can search for items online, or even on the various, platforms. One quick example, there was I was just thumbing through one day and I saw in the Justins this beautiful bag. It turned out to be, it was a Roberto Cavalli mainline Python gold-plated
runway special
evening
edition
bag that was really, it was like $3,000 new. The gal said, and she wrote her description, said, I just want $12 for this
I don't know if
bag.
it's real or not.
I don't know, whatever. So, look, because I also don't believe in haggling people either.
Well, if you're gonna resell,
if I'm gonna resell it, I don't want to take.
I don't want to lowball you.
I think that's
a better,
a little shady boots. So I bought the bag for $12. So I'm into it, probably tax and whatever, like 22, 23. And literally, I listed it, and 15 minutes later, I sold it for $400. And I was lowballing myself. I'm like, you know what? I can't complain.
Yeah.
So what they have to, sometimes the jewel is in finding the individual items. It's not always about buying 100 items at a time.
Yeah.
Obviously, pallets are a different story.
That's a whole different game.
In the resale point, sometimes it's about finding those special items that you can flip out, respectfully at a much better price.
So less means more.
Yeah.
Do you?
And that's,
go ahead, Tom.
I couldn't agree with you more. But sorry, I couldn't agree with you more on that, because I think that there's, like you said, nothing wrong with the bins, because there's tons of people who do that very successfully.
Of course.
But I think there's a benefit to that where you're saying, I found something at the bins for 25 cents, and now I can sell some sort of luxury item that I found for 25 cents for $50, when maybe you actually could have sold it for $400 or $500. You just have to be willing to wait for it a little bit. And I think that's the thing that we learned, was that you have to be willing to pay up for some things, because if it's a luxury item, you might not find that thing for $5 at the thrift store. You might end up paying $50 for it. And then you might have to wait for 6 months to sell it. But once you got done and you went through all that, maybe you paid $50 and you sold it for $500, and you made a huge profit on one item just by sourcing smarter.
Yes.
Totally agree with that. And also, there's a lot of people that want, and again, to each their own. As John and I say, you do you, boo. Our philosophy is, it doesn't matter how much we paid for it. If it's what I mean is, it doesn't matter if we pay $5, $2, or $10, or $20. If it's a designer brand, it's gonna go for a couple of $100 at least, and depending on, we are not lowballing, not because we got it for 25 cents. If it's, a Versace, or if it's a Givenchy, or if it's a Chanel, or, like designer brands, I'm not gonna sell it for $50 or $100.
Right, exactly.
Of course.
It's gonna go, and we've paid up for stuff. As I said yesterday, I paid up. I was asked a question in a Push and Sip if I had a cap, and that was my next question actually that I just thought about. We don't have a cap of how much to spend, because we never know what we're gonna find. We went to state sales, and they were selling the studio merchandise, like TV studio merchandise stuff. We found DVF, Tom Ford, like super expensive brands, and there were other more bread and butter brands. And I saw this calfskin leopard Tom Ford boots, and they were a dream, because they were ombre too. They were. I keep a picture of it.
Luckily, they didn't fit.
Yes.
Luckily, they didn't.
I had them in my office just to look at them until they sold, and we paid $250 for them. And we've never paid that much for anything. But those boots were worth $3,000, and they were almost new, and we sold it for more than $1,000. So then, yes, but we paid $250, but we knew the worth of it, and that it's like
that's the point, though, is that we need the value.
what we need to spend. Even we have an idea, or or when we see the pallets, especially if they're in auction, we're like, okay, if we can make up the money with the first, because they usually list the most expensive ones at the beginning, at the beginning of the list. If we can make up what we invest on the first 3, 4, then we'll be good. And let's see, Hugo, you and Tiffany, you might agree with me. And let's see what else is left in the list to see if we can make, how fast we can get the investment back. And that's the way that we've been.
The biggest mistake I ever made was that we went to this place called Unclaimed Baggage. It's this place out in Alabama.
I've heard of
Have you heard of it?
It's like in the middle of Alabama. I mean.
Oh, let's meet there.
Absolutely. And we went there, and they had these racks of Hugo Boss shirts, and they were like $3 a piece. And I think I only bought like 10 of them, right? Yeah, I only bought 10 of them. Because I said, okay, we'll see how it goes. That was the biggest mistake of my life.
They had like a full
They
rack.
had 3 full racks.
Yeah.
I could have cleaned, and it all would have fit in our SUV, one way or another. Kids on the roof, whatever we had, whatever they had, we'll come back for you, Uber. I mean, it was going, and I was just starting out at that time, so I didn't really know a lot. I didn't really, think about it as much as I would have now in this position. But I put those things up. They sold within a month. They were all gone. Every single one, every size, because I picked up every size. And it's kind of like, what I learned about, making sure that if you put up quality merchandise, there are people that are going to look specifically for that item. And I think that's one of the big mistakes that you make sometimes. Is that you figure, okay, I'll take this cheap and sell it cheap. It's a lot easier when you're dealing with higher end items because people want that and they appreciate it.
Yeah. Thoughts?
No, yeah,
everybody's.
Totally agree with that. But and then also like related to, the pallets, but anywhere you stores, we open our doors to selling in different platforms or different items that are coming in.
Yeah.
So we have the higher, like you said, looking at those lists and you see those higher end items and their designer pieces, and we know we're going to sell those. But then there's other things that we send to ThreadUp, and then there's other things that we know we can mass list and sell on eBay. And so it's always about finding your paths to what
in the right place
in the right place to put your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. I want to thank you guys so much. This was so much fun. I hope everybody learned. We've learned. Love sharing the screen with you guys. You are at least my top. On my top 10. 3 of you. Well, like the 6 of you. But it's like the 3. You know what I mean.
Speak for Brad and I. It was a pleasure and honor to panel with all of you this evening.
Yes.
I want to say one more thing. Our friend Cynthia has her account hacked, and it's Lady Hustle 1920 like 3 times. So for everybody that is listening or will listen, hopefully, please follow her. She has amazing contact and is very smart and super hard worker, and I'm very proud of her and love her very much. I want to thank Rosalind for moderating. Thank you, friend. She's amazing too. And everybody that's in our group, and Sandra and Picky Mom and Sheila, everybody, Lisette. Thank you guys for always supporting, and I don't know what to do with my hands.
And we can't actually wait to meet you guys all again in real life soon.
Yeah, I agree.
I know.
Well, you have you forgotten our encounter, Brad?
No, I remember that, girls. That was like
I'll
Girl,
back up.
I'll be back up tomorrow morning.
Okay. I attacked them with a hug, and I told Michael, and I told them, because they came to Atlanta for a push and sip, and we messaged because they are amazing at messaging back, and I was obsessed with them, still are, but I'm trying to keep my cool. And And I told them that I was gonna
Keep him cool.
yell and scream.
Good.
I did not keep my cool because I turned around, I'm like, I'm going for it. And I was like, go for it. And I saw them and they were taking a video. And then you see my face approaching, like I'm going to eat them alive.
Don't worry. We got you, girl. We love you.
It was great.
Oh.
I put it up 4 times a year per season.
Because good. Seasonal. We love it.
So yeah, I couldn't keep my cool. And I attacked them with a hug. And I will do that again, and probably with all of you when I meet you in person. So get ready.
And
Thank you, everyone.
We can't wait.
And
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Where's that? The mouse. It's not working. Oh, okay.
Just gotta click it.
Yeah.